It's time.
Joey Elias is my guest today. Joey, you just came off recording your latest album.
Yeah.
I don't know when you're planning on dropping it, but you did 5 nights at the Comedy Nest. I think you sold out every night, every show. Actually, no, you did. It was 3 nights, 5 shows, right?
Yeah, 3 nights, 5 shows. We sold out 4 of the 5.
God.
I was 18 short on one night.
Okay, it's a good fucking run. When are you
Yeah.
gonna drop it? When is it coming out?
You know, I'm at the process where I picked out one show. We recorded all 5, but I decided that, nope, I'm going to cut up one of the shows that I like. And then I went through the other shows, and I just picked a couple of clips. And that we're going to add. I say we because I'm still working with Esteban Vargas, who used to be my producer when I had a radio show on terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
And we picked out some bonus clips, just fun moments, I think, that most of them are audience interactions. There's one joke that I changed completely from one night to the next. So I just,
And you like the one of them more than the other, I guess.
yeah. So I
Okay.
put that in as the alternative,
Interesting.
ending. It's kind of like the movie Clue, if anybody listening remembers, where they had, when it first came out, they had like 5 different endings, thinking people would go to the theater 5 different times. No.
Just as no.
No.
Is it just audio, or are you doing video for this one?
No, we just did audio.
Okay.
So we're going to. I'm going to print up 150 actual hard copies of the CDs. They're going to be numbered from, I say 1 to 150, but I'm going to take the number 1 out, and I'm going to frame it up and give it to my folks.
Smart.
Just because I don't think I could have gotten this far without their support. To be honest, I mean, imagine your oldest son, 18 years old, tells you, yeah. This is exactly how my parents found out I was doing stand-up, I'll tell you. I was living in the basement like all good ethnic kids do.
Yeah.
It was a Wednesday night, and that was the only night you did stand-up when I started.
The open mics?
Open mic, that was it. There were no satellite rooms, right? And in Montreal back in the day, there was a little bit of, what do you want to call it? Gang warfare? Turf wars?
Turf wars,
Turf
yeah.
wars, yeah. So there was a little bit of a turf war between the 2 owners of the 2 clubs, and you had to choose. You had to go either the Comedy Nest or Comedy Works. Either way, you were still going to do comedy once a week. So it was either Monday nights at the Comedy Works, Wednesday night at the Comedy Nest. And didn't matter at the time. First of all, you had to audition to get on.
Yeah.
Imagine now the kids today that just jump on, think they're headliners right away,
Oh, yeah.
right? And they'd be like, I have to audition to get on an open mic? What kind of bullshit is that? Yeah, baby. But it made you a better comic.
Yeah, there was limited spots back then. It's not like now.
No, it was tough. So, and I think I made the right choice. I went to the Comedy Nest, and I was very lucky to have guys like, David John McCarthy, John Rogers, Jeff Rothpan, Rick Bronson, Carla Collins at the time was around every night. So I learned just by being a fly on the wall, but I was also working the door. So I came up one Wednesday evening, and I was in my, usual jacket or whatever. My mom just asked, where do you go every Wednesday that you're dressed up? I said, well, I kind of have a job, Ma,
I don't want to brag.
She goes, what do you mean? She goes, well, I'm working at the Comedy Nest. She goes, oh, is the doorman? And I went, no, Ma, I'm on stage. And she just didn't understand, because nobody in our family, extended or not, had the closest we had to anybody in show business. We had a very distant cousin that lived in New York that produced the local evening news.
That's very different from what you were doing.
Yeah, right? So that was the closest. So nobody understood, especially at the time, my grandfather was alive, and try to explain to a gentleman who survived the Holocaust that his oldest grandson now is just going to not go to school anymore, so I can tell, what he thought were, he grew up in the era of comedy, it was the Borscht Belt. It was all the great guys, So in his head, I think he was like, my grandson's never going to hang out with Rickles and, all those guys. But
So what's the point?
Yeah.
A lot of people say that. They go, what's the point?
Well, I really thought that when I first started doing stand-up, it was on a bet. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to, pay up, going to walk out the door, one and done, and this may shock people, I was going to go into politics.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was studying poli-sci for the 2 or 3 days that I went to university.
Did you want to do something local, or were you thinking federal?
I was naive enough to think that I could make a difference, so it didn't really matter. I just wanted to get like a basic law degree and then turn that into politics somehow. And then I realized that nobody listens to politicians. By the way, that crack was my knee.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Just so people know, I'm 46 with a body of a 95-year-old man.
Don't worry. I'm 32, and it's my fingers, my knees, everything.
Oh, man. The fingers are the best. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, and I try to figure out... You know how people make songs when they fill glasses up with water, and then they do that whole stupid thing? That's how I feel some mornings with my knuckles.
Oh, dude, it is something else. I always fear that I'm going to get Alzheimer's really early. Arthritis really early.
That's the funniest joke you've said so far today. That you mixed up Alzheimer's.
Which was perfect.
Yeah.
Which was perfect. But I always fear because sometimes they just stiffen up really bad, especially because I still play hockey. And sometimes while I'm playing, it'll just stiffen up. I'm holding the stick and I can't really turn my hands because it's just killing me inside.
Have you tried this cannabis oil?
No, well, on your hands?
Yeah, it's
No.
a cream, and I've done this this summer a little bit for golf. Same thing, right? With the hockey
Yeah, it really
stick
works.
and the golf. There's some more, especially when it's very humid. I find that my fingers will, especially the knuckle area, will be very swollen.
Yeah.
What are we sponsored by this week?
This week, nothing on this podcast because I'm starting it up again.
Oh, I thought maybe go out and get like some Depends or Ensure way we're talking.
The way we're talking, they're going to be
Yeah.
ready. They're like, look, it's never too early to start.
But seriously, you put just a dab of the cream on the sore part, and I guess whatever the cannabis does, I guess it's heavier on CBD because you don't get drunk, you don't get stoned on it, but it just numbs the pain.
I'm going to try.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Why not? For my back, what I'm thinking of signing up for is DDP Yoga.
What is that?
DDP, the wrestler.
I'm not a big wrestling fan.
Diamond Dallas Page, he was
my
a
God.
wrestler for years, and he started this his own form of yoga. And they've made documentaries about it because there was one soldier that couldn't walk. He had crutches, and he was, I think, 150 pounds overweight, and he could barely stand up. I think a year later, 10 months later, this guy's running. Yeah, and it heals your back. So he's gotten a lot of wrestlers, a lot of athletes that go to do it. He was even on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about it a couple of weeks ago. It seems pretty good if you have the time to commit to sit down and do all the... I don't know if I could commit to that. I'm like, I don't want to watch these videos. Just...
Oh, do you have to study before you go?
Not before you go, but I mean, because since I'm not going to go down to where the fuck he is now, Arizona or Miami, so I'm going to have to watch the videos. So you pay for the program, and you'll watch the videos. Kind of like how it was back in the day when Richard Simmons would do his stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Just that this one's simpler to do. And, you get lazy after a while. Comics, like, fuck, I'm going to watch these videos.
Yeah, we have other videos to watch.
Yeah.
Like comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah, see, I watched all of Norm Macdonald's new show on Netflix. I binged it right away. But anything else
See,
that's
I'm saving
important...
that for the weekend.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Because
Hilarious.
I got that, and I have Ozark Season 2 on the list.
Some good shows on right now.
So I think the weekend, if it's not nice enough to go out and get some last-minute golf in, yeah.
Yeah, you're still a big golfer. You love golf.
I love the golf. If I could golf every day, either because of time or finances, I would.
Never got into the golf.
I just like it because you're out there for, 4 hours. You turn off your phone. You check it maybe at the turn.
You're hanging with your friends.
Yeah. Like I played yesterday with 3 buddies. We just had a hoot. We play golf. I mean, nobody's out there to score well. If you play well, great. If not, who gives a shit? We're having a couple of beer, a couple of joints.
It's an excuse to hang out.
Yeah, and you know what? When the weather's nice, especially in Canada, I mean, it's so short. I mean, yeah, people were bitching this summer. It's so hot. It's too hot.
It's not too hot. It was the humidity that was the problem. Everybody's complaining about the wrong thing.
Well, listen, if you have health issues, I understand.
If
Like,
not,
you have
get in front of a
asthma-
fucking fan and shut the hell up.
Right. I mean, if you have asthma or you're old or you're young, I get it. It's not pleasant to be out. It's not easy to breathe in, the mugginess. But people go, really? You golfed in that? Yeah. So I just don't walk the course that day.
You use the cart.
I get a cart, and I make sure that I have a lot of beverage, and that's it. And you know what? You drive down the fairway or to go look for your ball in the woods, there's a breeze, like you drive fast enough, you get a nice little breeze. It's a really pleasant day. And there's shade on some of the courses. It's not like I'm playing courses that don't have trees.
What I could appreciate is that your social activity that you like to do with your buddies is also a physical event. So you're getting some exercise, you're getting some sun. It's actually good. You're combining a lot of good things.
Yeah. Listen, golf is just a wonderful thing. And I understand why people don't like it. I can also understand that I'm not a big MMA
There you go.
or wrestling fan. And people are like, really? You'll watch golf, but you won't watch that? Yeah, it's a matter. My brother will...
Different strokes.
Look, man, you know my bro.
Oh, of course.
My bro will talk MMA...
Boxing.
For days.
Yeah.
And first of all, this is a true story. He was like, I didn't know the difference between UFC and Bellator and all that. So I just thought Bellator was a fighter. And I was like, this fucking guy's awesome. He fights like every second week, this Bellator. And my brother didn't tell me for a while. That, like,
on purpose?
Yeah. He's like, he would always have friends come over for the pay-per-views and stuff. And
so he's like, we're going to watch the Bellator fights.
Yeah.
Wow, this guy.
And he would tell, all his buddies and like, oh, look at my idiot comedy brother, who fucking thinks he knows it all. And then one of my ops at the radio station who has it's called Ringside Report, little plug for Dave Simon's podcast.
Where do they get online? It's just a regular podcast, iTunes.
Yeah, I think so. And he also does it on TSN locally on 690.
Very cool.
But Dave was the one. So, he's a big UFC guy. And I was like, this Bellator is awesome, eh? He's like, it's okay. I go, what do you mean it's? And that's when I found out, like, no, it's, a federation of fighters. It's not a guy. And then I went home. I called my brother. I was like, you're a dick.
He's like, finally.
He's like,
it was
the greatest running gag ever.
And you still jump on TSN for sports and things like that just to talk about?
Sometimes. I'm a big sports fan. I love sports.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up loving sports, but when I started traveling on the road, as a headliner, and now most of the comedy clubs have condos, but back in the day, you were in a hotel. So what do? You don't want to eat hotel food every day. I would go find a sports bar, and I would just mosey on up to the bar. And there's always highlights or whatever. And if you wanted to, you started a conversation with somebody just based on the highlights, saying, oh, my God, did you see that game last night? It was crazy, or whatever. And then also it's good PR because you end up in a conversation with a couple of people or, a group of people. And then you're like, oh, by the way, here's a 2-for-1 pass to the club tonight or this weekend. And what? You're a comic? Yeah. That was the big thing when I was on TSN is people are amazed that comedians know sports.
Yeah, anything outside of comedy, they're amazed.
I think it's also the bad taste that Dennis Miller may have left in some Monday Night Football fan. I loved it. I love the fact that you got this really, really irreverent guy to come in and just wax poetic the way he sees it. You know what the problem was? He was too smart for the majority of Monday Night Footballs, including myself at times.
You think he was smarter than the audience and that caused the disconnect?
I think it was also, he made his coworkers a little uncomfortable with some of these references. They're like, I don't know what he said, but I'm sure not all of it's kosher. But that's the big thing. Really, how does a comedian know about hockey? Oh, fuck you. I grew up in the same Canadian town as you.
Yeah, I think everybody here knows about hockey.
You have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise they ship you out. Isn't that part of the...
it's part of the agreement.
It's part of the CAC's new campaign thing, right?
Yeah.
You learn French in 3 years, and if you don't know hockey, fuck you, back to your homeland.
And they don't even tell you. If you're born here, they won't tell you where they're sending you. It's a surprise. It's like roulette.
Well, I'm waiting for my shipment papers.
You were doing... So your radio show that you were doing here for years, right?
12, yeah.
12 fucking years. And it was kind of one of our only, I guess on local radio, our only comedian-represented radio show. You were representing comedy in Montreal. People knew to tune in. They knew what they were going to get. They were happy to hear it.
Well, I'm glad they knew what they were going to get because there were many nights where I walked in and we all looked at each other, Esteban and Brian or Dave, and there was a lot of... What are we
going to do tonight?
What are we doing tonight?
But it was part of this. It was part of the culture. It was part of the scene. And then, at least in my eyes, it seemed abrupt the way it ended. Just okay. Well, this is it. This is going to be the last episode. It seemed very abrupt, and I don't think it was just to me. But I'm just giving you my opinion.
Right.
It was it. I never asked you, and this is the first time. Was it your decision? Was it them? I know that you're not the most PC person, so was it because you spent the last couple of years trying your best to fit in that, and then you're like, you know what, fuck this shit? Was it that? What the hell caused this? Because a show that I assumed was one of the more successful shows on the network, to just up and go like that.
I'll be
odd.
very brief and very. I mean, you know me. I don't bullshit. And that's what gets me into trouble. Is
I know this very well, good sir.
You know, I don't shut my mouth. We were under. I say we because it was management locally and myself. We were under the impression that changes from way above our pay grade. We're going to make changes, really including the 11 o'clock hour. But we all were under the impression that it was going to come down a little later than it did. And I understood, and they were very, I cannot stress this enough. The management here at Bell was so good to me. I even joked around that if once I signed my goodbye papers, I told my boss, I was like, can you email 2 of my ex-girlfriends and say, like, look, we could have done this amicably. It was all you, you know? So it was very amicable. There were some offers made to me to stay on the air. The unfortunate part, really, and this is where they really stood up and were good. So it came down the pipe a lot sooner than we thought. They wanted an answer a lot sooner than I thought I was going to be given. But when I weighed out what they offered me, I think in a different time in terms of the calendar year, if it wasn't summer and I didn't have 1,000 commitments to family over this short period of time, I probably would have taken that offer.
And is this on the table?
I don't know, because now that I walked away, I have to sit in purgatory for a while, right? I'm allowed to be a guest on a show, but I can't host anything on the network for a while.
You can't host anything on the network. Can you do your own thing?
Sure. Oh, yeah. I can do my own thing.
Like a Joey Elias podcast, or perhaps another network. Start a bidding war, Joey.
Well, the bidding war in Canadian radio is how many nickels they can roll. So
and beat you with them.
Yeah, pretty much. No, they were great. As far as podcasts go, I know you have been pushing me for so many years. To be honest, I don't really know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to do something. If I do a podcast, I'd like to do something a little different. You know, I don't know. We should talk.
We should, because you got me, you got Mike.
Yeah.
And Mike knows the Canadian game at least really well for podcasting. He still has, I think, the #1 French language podcast on the planet.
That's sick.
Yeah. Oh, dude, millions of downloads. He kills it with that.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. He's the Joe Rogan of French podcasting.
So I can go on, smoke weed with him on his podcast, and then the stock of
Did
my
Tesla's
company.
stock get hit?
Yeah, man.
That's
because
so stupid.
Of course it's stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. First of all, did you see him? He didn't even really fucking take a
No, and he was such a, like, the more I heard him talking, the more I was like, I support this guy. I like this guy. He's such a cool guy. I was like, I like him.
Listen, you gotta like the guy. SpaceX.
Yeah.
Whether you like Tesla or not, just SpaceX alone.
No, but I like people like that. People trying to change things. People
Right.
It's always the lazy people that aren't doing anything that criticize the ones that are actually fucking actively working. So people are mad at him. The people that are mad at him for smoking weed aren't taking into consideration what they're giving back to humanity and what he is. None of it. They're like, oh, he fucking took a toke. End his career. It's so stupid.
Did he really take
Did he
a
really
toke?
even take it? Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
So
think he inhaled like we all did when we first tried a cigarette when we were 12 and we didn't understand how to inhale.
Yeah, he was like an
know?
alien. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this?
Boom. And then you're like, oh man, the head rush. And you're like, head rush?
It would have been cool if he acted like that. He's like, Joe.
Oh man.
I think I'm going through something right now.
What would have been even funnier if it's just out of nowhere, a bag of chips appeared.
It's just,
And no reference to where it came from. And as he's, just talking to Mr. Rogan, who's just nibbling on
Crunching
a
into
chip
the mic,
here
yeah.
and there, I think that would have been hilarious. Listen, I love the fact that Rogan's so open about his use of marijuana.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's open about everything. He'll tell you he's not scared to be like, all right, well, I have to kill my meat, and all the hunting he does because he's scared. He doesn't give a fuck. You have a problem with him hunting?
I don't.
I don't have. I like the fact that he hunts.
Listen, I'm not a hunter, but that doesn't mean, again, just because,
I want to become a hunter. I wish I could do that.
But again, maybe it's because I grew up in an age before social media.
Yeah.
I am not outraged by people who hunt. No. Why should I be? If they do it properly and they register themselves and they have a license, it's not like some idiot going out, on a weekend.
Shooting cats.
Right. With a BB gun.
As long as you're not hunting people. Yeah. If you're hunting actual live, you're hunting food. Essentially the same stuff you would get, let's say that you could buy, you could purchase.
Sure.
Somebody else is killing them. There's a whole machine made to grind up these animals. I'm going to get mad because one person is doing it on his own. It doesn't...
But that's the whole problem with so many people today is that...
The outrage machine.
The outrage brigade, I call it, because I'm not on Facebook, right?
That's a very smart decision.
5 years, man. Turned 40. Try to eliminate all the bullshit in my life. Like I said, big changes happened around then. But that was one of them. I realized that at one point I just was... I got myself into a little bit of controversy with the French population a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I pointed out a ticket taker at a metro station who had a sign up that said, if you don't speak English, if you don't speak French, you don't get service.
That's called an asshole, I believe,
so
internationally.
I went down with a video camera, took a picture of the little sign, but then I went up to the gate wearing a pair of pants that looked like the Canadian flag and my Team Canada jersey and my Canada gold medal hat.
Oh, you were...
And I was like, hello, how much for one bus ticket? And the guy pointed to the sign. So I posted this to my Facebook page, and holy moly, you would have thought I had, killed people. Like, seriously. And anyway, there were death threats made to me and stuff like that. And
Death threats?
Oh, yeah.
Death threats for pointing out that what the ticket taker was doing was, number one, fucking absurd. And number two, illegal, right? You're supposed to serve people in either or language, right? Or both.
But you're in the service industry in a major North American city.
It's not even...
You think that you'd be a little compassionate to somebody not speaking your mother tongue.
And it's the metro. There's going to be tourists.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. International students, that's what we're trying to, bring, and that's what we're advertising to bring over. And then you got this fucknut. Anyway, well, I got death threats from people who, obviously are not Federalists or pro-Canada. And I just decided a little bit after that I was tired of waking up to a slew of messages every day telling me where to go. If I wanted that, I would have stayed in my relationship.
But was it that bad? Was it?
Yeah, it was pretty.
Death
it was pretty crazy. So I thought about it. Like, what was Facebook founded on? It was founded on jealousy and spite. That's what it was made for. So why were we all surprised when it turned from cute little memes of, your kid vomiting on your pet dog to, oh, really? You don't speak French? Fuck you, you English piece of shit. Go back to where you came from. Okay, I went back to Côte St. Luc.
Yeah.
That's where I went to. But that's what happened.
I had no idea about death threats.
So I got off it. I'm on Twitter, which I still like a little. I do get political, especially lately about the municipal situation. As I look out the beautiful window, I can only count on one hand the amount of orange cones. But for those of you who haven't been to Montreal or seen Montreal, the orange cone seems to have become our civic flower. There's a music video now that somebody put out about the orange cones. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm a little political about that. And I do take a lot of heat sometimes about my political views, whether it's about, the U.S. situation. Because even people go, why do you even care? Why do I care?
You can have an opinion. Why not?
Well, because, first of all, it's spreading down here. right? The amount of let's round up kind of these people that are disenfranchised and let's speak their language. Let's blame everything else on somebody else. Like this new political party of Canada.
We have a new party?
Yeah, Maxime Bernier, right?
See, now I feel fucking embarrassed. This always happens. I know more about the U.S. than I do about Canada.
Well, Maxime Bernier went on this tirade like 2 weeks ago.
Who's this guy?
Well, he was in the Conservative Party, and he lost the leadership convention to Andrew.
Because he was crazy, and now he started his own party?
And then he felt like, oh, they didn't include me in all this. And so he left the party.
Because is he a visible minority?
No, he's a French-Canadian guy from Quebec.
And they didn't want to
Very
include
successful,
him.
right, in life. But he went a little wacky. Like I said, he went on this, I think it was a 9 or 10 thread tweet, craziness about how Canada has not overlet. Is that English? Overlet? No. But they've exceeded their, quota, if you will, on immigrants from, refugee-considered countries.
Okay.
He's pissy about that, and then he was like, they better learn how to, if they're going to come here on the free, they better do this and that. It was fucking
he
went Trump.
He went after the actual people that came here.
Ish. Anybody who isn't what they consider, pur laine.
Right, but here's the thing. Nobody who's going to come from the outside is going to be pure whatever the fuck we are here because they're from somewhere else. And if you're mad
Aren't we all from somewhere else,
obviously,
unless we're indigenous?
If you're... the indigenous people are the ones that got the short end of the stick. No one else. Everyone else is fucking living large here.
Right.
While the people who should be pissed are being kept quiet.
Right. If anybody has the right to choose who comes here, it should be the indigenous people of the land who went, look, you fucking took this from us. You haven't done anything to help us out. And you know what? You're horrible tenants on our land. Get the fuck here. We built you a boat.
But if we have let in too many people, why is it this is the arguments I get into. Why is it the fault of the person who was allowed it? It's like if I let you into a party, okay? I let you in. I'm like, hey, you're allowed. You have a ticket. You're in the party.
Oh God.
And then when you're in
what
there,
a lame party.
Somebody's like, hey, motherfucker, there's too many people in here. Hey, what are you getting mad at me for? You guys organized it,
yeah.
right? I was why am I in trouble? That's right. If you're mad, why don't you talk to the federal government? Hey, did we think this through? Why is it the person who asked, where can I go? Oh, I can go in here. And then the second they get in, that's where I draw. It's definitely possible that maybe we could overdo it or underdo it or whatever. I don't know I don't know the budgets. I don't know how the fuck this shit works. But why is it the fault of the person who asked?
Yeah. Listen, and what they also have to remember, it's not people just wanting to live here that have boatloads of money. They can come here easily, right? These are people that are coming in from countries that are still bombing, gassing their own people, for a better life. Everybody talks about the American dream. Canada's an awesome fucking place to live. I'm telling you.
The Canadian dream is the same, just colder.
And and to make the NHL, not the NFL or NBA or...
Impossible. Nobody's making NHL anymore. It's too expensive.
It's true. Well, maybe not. There's still...
I don't think it's a common...
Hand-me-downs, no?
No, I don't think... From what I hear from... I don't have kids.
Yeah, me
but the
neither.
parents tell me it is crazy. Equipping your kids every year to play hockey.
Oh, I bet. That's why soccer's so popular.
Yeah.
Right? And even baseball's down.
Well, baseball. I never got into... Were you into baseball?
Loved it.
God, I can't get into baseball.
I was pretty good at it. I think that's why I went to golf.
You took that swing and you...
Yeah, I just made it...
Modified it?
Yeah, a little
bit. For the ground?
Yeah. So I don't know. I just... Or maybe it's just the outdoor thing.
I think it's the outdoor. I think you like the outdoors.
I love the outdoors. I still camp. Man.
Yeah, there you go.
Old school. Get in the woods.
See, I don't believe in camping.
Tent. Oh, yeah. And people go, really? Joey the Jew camps like that? Damn straight, man.
Why would I put so much effort into living the lifestyle that the crackheads in my neighborhood already live for free?
No, man. They don't have...
Battling the elements.
No, because they're not... First of all, you have shelter in a tent. That's one.
This is true, yeah.
2, they're not having comfort food over a bonfire that you built.
Hanging out with their friends.
Just going, boys, I bought marijuana-infused mac and cheese, and then you make it, and then you just sit around the fire with 2 or 3, 4 of your buddies and fucking go, I think those are fireflies. And
How long do you stay out for?
A Couple days, couple nights.
What about bathrooms? Do you go somewhere? Because somebody was telling me about places you can go to where you have, if you want, at a distance, like porta potties and things like that.
That's available.
That's available, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to shit in the woods.
No, we pee all over the place.
Yeah,
man.
well, that's a different
You know
story.
what I mean? But yeah, and some of the places where you go, they have showers available,
That's pretty cool.
right? And they're pretty clean. You know, like they clean them every like 25 minutes or something like that.
Just to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, most provincial camps, parks where you can camp, they have the porta potties, and then, they also ask you to recycle. So at the end of your stay, you just throw your recycling bag into a giant bin.
And you're done.
It's peaceful, man. You're out there with nature. It's just some music. I've gone by myself. Music, book, tent, food, much weed.
That could be an idea for you. Going out there by yourself with the same equipment plus audio equipment, and you record a podcast about your thoughts.
Oh, my God.
That would be amazing.
No, that would be a cry for help.
Yeah. It'd be funny if you actually do start crying at one point. You're like, so lonely. Where's...
Yeah, where's Joey? He's in the woods. Can't reach him. I like getting off the grid. I'm old school that way. Like, I did a trip to the military base up in the North Pole, and there's no cell phone. There's no Wi-Fi service.
You don't find that you need it, at least for comedy, to promote your shows or anything like that?
That's why I still am on the Twitter.
Yeah.
And how old am I that I just said the Twitter?
I say the Facebook all the time. People get upset.
Well, that was the original name.
Right? I'm not wrong.
No.
Huh.
No. I mean, it is Facebook now. But yeah, I love getting off the grid a little bit. It was wonderful. It was 10 days up there. And yeah, I was up there with soldiers and a couple of musicians. But the fact that you ate at the same time every day. I mean, you live the military life, but I would go and sit with different people every day, and you would actually have conversations. And then at night, when we weren't doing the show, I played a lot of cards with those guys and gals, and they banned me from the poker tournaments.
Were you winning?
I won the first 6 that I played.
And then they're like, no more, Joey.
Yeah, they're like, get the hell out of here.
You're a fucking ringer.
And which was weird, because I hadn't played poker for many a year. And then that was 2 years ago. I haven't played since.
I was invited to a poker game yesterday, and then I double booked myself, and I had to cancel.
Did you have a gig?
No, I didn't have a gig. I made plans, and then the people I made plans with, I kept always canceling, right? So it seemed, because I agreed if I would cancel again, that I'm just fucking around.
No.
So I told, it was Ryan Wilner who was running the poker game, and I told him, I was like, fuck, dude, I'm an idiot. I completely forgot I had poker. So I got to cancel. And it was a fun game, apparently. It was, David Acker was there, too.
Yeah, he's a good poker player.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's a good card player.
He's a magician.
Yeah, so he counts the cards.
That motherfucker. More than counts. He's just coming out with cards out of his fucking sleeve.
You know what? There's a lot of great comedians that are fantastic poker players.
I believe that.
I mean, you mentioned Norm MacDonald,
Yeah.
obviously. Colin Quinn is a great poker player.
Is fucking Colin Quinn a great poker player?
Yeah, Canadian-wise, there was a big game in Toronto. Tim Steeves. Well, he's an awesome poker player.
Really?
Yeah, the late Erwin Barker was very good. There's a bunch of guys out of Toronto. But Montreal, I know Ryan plays a lot, Mike P., Acker, when he's around. I used to play all the time. I used to go home. I was my radio show at one point was sponsored by one of the poker rooms.
Oh, really?
That was on the reservation.
Was it Playground?
No.
I like Playground.
You know what? Again, I haven't been. They sponsored one of my golf tournaments. That when I ran my own charity, they were the mega sponsor, and I met the owner or the guy who runs it back then. But I've never actually gone in.
Oh, we should do something. We should go down there fucking on a Saturday night or something. Go play.
All right, I'm in. Maybe that's where I do my podcast from.
You never. And you know what's funny is the last time I went there, it was a while ago. It was over a year ago. But the dealer knew me. He's like, you're a comedian. He's like, Pantelis.
Do you feel like I would get noticed?
But
a
then
lot?
I lost a lot of money, and I was
Right.
so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh fuck, this guy's seeing me get blown out."
Oh, either way, man. Now he thinks comedians are loaded, which is fantastic. But did you like getting noticed at the poker
No,
table?
I don't like getting noticed anywhere.
Yeah, me neither.
It's very weird for me. I like everything self-contained. I like when I'm on stage, you know who I am. You enjoy the show. I like you listen to the podcast. When I'm outside and somebody's like, "Oh, I've listened to this," or "I saw you," I don't know how to like. What do you want me to do with that information? You know, I want to just be me And if sometimes I make a scene because I'm I'm loud, I'm fucking I get frustrated. So I don't want to yell at someone and they're like, "You motherfucker, I know you. I've seen you." I don't want that. I want to be me alone.
People won't.
You get
it.
noticed a lot here. You're a fucking.
I'm shy as hell, man.
I know that.
So it's very awkward. It's nice, like especially after the radio departure. There were many people that would come up to you. As long as it's like they're polite and at appropriate moments, that's fine.
Yeah.
No joke. I mean, I've been to a funeral where somebody turned to me and went, "So, what about the radio? What happened?" And you're like, "Is this really the time?"
They're pointing at the casket. They're like, "Is your radio career dead?
Yeah.
Is it dead?
Is it like the Max man in the little box? Dead? No. So yeah, I try as I get older too. I just stay in more. I mean, I now do material. It's on the CD about how I know I'm going to die alone because I'll never meet people.
You know what? You know what's fucked up by you saying that? You probably won't. Out of nowhere, something's gonna. That's what happens. Is life is.
No, I know. I'm
so
not
strange.
saying. I'm not saying it. It may
You're gonna
not
end
happen.
up pushing away so much that something else is gonna happen, and then you're gonna do the complete fucking 180.
Maybe. And maybe the person, that I end up with is already in my very small inner circle.
This is true, yeah.
I have more female friends than I do male friends. I don't know if that's a when Harry met Sally statement or women that I possibly may have ended a relationship with have bigger friend networks than I do.
That's fun.
And they're like, listen, that Elias guy, funny on stage. What a dick off. It's, so. Oh, I'm sure there's been meetings.
About you?
Where it started off with, hi, my name is, and, I mean, if there was meetings that started off with, hello, my name is, and I make bad decisions, I would be, like, I'm their grand leader. You know what I mean? Like, I should be immortalized in every, whatever you want to call those meetings.
Why do you assume that you've made such bad decisions when you are living the life that you wanted to live, right?
Oh, but personally, man, oh man, I could have been, you all look back and, look, I was young when I made some of these mistakes. I was older when I made others. But I look back now and I think that if, like you said, if those things didn't happen, I wouldn't end up where I am now. And everything, I'm not saying everything happens for a reason, but there is a path. There's a path that, you follow. I take the road less traveled a lot. Yeah. And sometimes it's the right decision, sometimes it's not, So, yeah. But it always seems like you never remember the good decisions. It's like a good set.
Yeah, it leaves right away, but a bad set fucking stays with you.
Yeah.
Like a kick to the dick.
Even a bad moment or a bad, like you headline and, you just had a great, like I think about a set I did the other night. I was headlining another show, and I really it was at the theater in Hudson.
Oh, the Village.
Yeah. And I liked it. I liked the way I paced myself, and the show was paced and stuff like that. But there was about a 4-minute lull where I felt up on stage where I could have really hit them a little bit harder somewhere in those 4 minutes.
I'm not saying it stayed with you.
I'm not saying it was a silent 4 minutes, but it was compared to the reaction I got for the other 46 minutes while on stage, it was definitely a decibel below. And it drove me up a wall for a good day and a half until the Steelers shit the bed.
Again.
Yeah, man, they're fuck. Anyway.
I know what you mean, though. But it's not just comedians. Everyone does it. That's why there's so many negative reviews on things. People are more inclined to share bad news for some reason than they are good news. And we're no different. And we hold on to the bad sets. I can have a series of great sets. People compliment me. They like it. And then the second one thing, it doesn't even have to be a full set. It could be a joke that I stumble on that doesn't go my way. And it'll stay with me. And the people watching could care fucking less. It won't stay with them. They don't even know.
They don't know.
When later, like, oh, it was good. And you're like, I didn't really like it. Like, what are you fucking talking about? And no matter what they tell you, that fucking line, that whatever it was, that bit, it'll fucking haunt you. Because we're weirdos. In the end, we're weirdos.
Yeah, but we're weirdos that are going to win in the end.
Yeah. I think it's because we're not scared. I mean, we're scared. We're not scared to fail. We're willing to try shit, and other people, because that's the only thing I've changed.
We fail more than we succeed.
And people don't see that.
I think the only people that do that more than us is baseball players, right? Hitting 3 out of 10 is considered Hall of Fame numbers.
Oh, really?
Right? If you have a 300 career batting average, oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh, that's amazing?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, okay.
Right? So, we're kind of like ball players. That where if we hit 3 out of 7 times, no. But even though we're hitting 7 or 8, 9 out of 10, we're never going to, I don't think I can ever, I think the word kill today, you hear.
I think it's overused.
Jesus, these fucking kids. Oh man, how was the show last? Oh, killed. Really? You killed. I've been doing this, since '92, and I can tell you, I can count on both hands true kills.
Yeah. I remember the one that I consider a kill set, and it's not because I have bad sets regularly, but there was one at the Nest one time where it was during the new setup, the way they have it now. And I think it all had to do with the crowd, because it was one of those nights where everybody, you don't have to bring anybody in. They're all in on the game. They all want to laugh. And they were so hyper. And it was one of the two shows, it was the 8 o'clock and the 10:30.
Right.
I think it was the 8 o'clock show that and it was packed. When I was walking down to go on the stage, they were like patting you on the back, like it was a UFC fight, like when you were going down. And then they were all up and animated and laughing at everything. And it was for every comic that was on, it was good, right? And it was one of those sets that stays with you, and you're like, why didn't I record this? It was like a Turkish soccer stadium. They were up and they were in, but that I could consider killing. Everybody was, but you can't. Every fucking time you're on stage, it's a kill because you did well. You could produce well, your own lines, and you can hit every punchline, and it still doesn't mean that it was a kill in the sense that it was better than everything else you've done. It's never gonna get that good again. Your barometer you gotta adapt that shit. It can't be every fucking time you're on stage and you said your things that you're a killer.
Yeah, and they also have to understand that if you've been doing the same set verbatim for the last 8 years, you better fucking kill for real at least once in that 8 years.
Because if you don't,
you know what I mean? And the majority of these people, let's be honest, they're not getting, 12, 15, 30-minute, 40-minute sets.
I think it's 5, 7.
7 to 10, So I'm not saying you can't kill in a 7 to 10 minute. I hope the
yeah, you could.
You can. And you know what? As an opener with a 7 to 10 minute, I hope that you go up mentally prepared and in your head saying, okay, I've got 8 minutes. But for those 8 minutes in my head, I am the headliner. I am the headliner for those 8 minutes. And I want to be the best I can be for those 8 minutes for these reasons. 1, I'm going to set the stage so the rest of the show goes well.
Yeah.
2, there are people that paid their hard-earned money to come see me at my best. So I better bring my best every time I get up on stage. That's my attitude.
David Acker did that to me when he first started putting me up on weekends and letting me open shows. He's like, don't overthink it. The set I just saw you do when I showcased for him, like those 8 minutes, he's like, do that. Don't overthink it. That's going to go well, do that. And then after a while, when he would give me more time, I would start to experiment and be able to incorporate more. But in the beginning, he was like, don't overthink it. They paid. They want your... Don't think, I got to throw in... No. This is what works for you. This is the 8 minutes that you have right now. Don't overthink it. Do that.
That's it.
And it was great advice because then I was more comfortable when I go up and be like, yeah, they paid. You get in the zone. Plus, you're young and you don't want to screw up. And it was that good.
Never changes, by the way. The nerves.
No. The nerves
never go away. The fact that you never want to really fuck up the show.
You don't want to be the reason why the show doesn't go well.
You also don't want to be the reason that they don't come back to the comedy club, or if it's charity, they never come back, or that That's how I felt a little bit about when somebody asked me in another interview, how do you feel about the radio show ending? And I was like, even though it was my decision. I was on it for 12 years, but it had been on for almost 25. It started with Peter Anthony Holder, and then Peter brought in David John McCarthy. They were co-hosts for a while, and then it was Peter and Ernie, and then Ernie took it over for many years and went from just Sunday nights to Friday and Sunday to Monday to Friday, and then I took it Monday to Sunday. You know, people ask, like, what? I don't even know why I'm talking about it. It's in the past. We got to move forward.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We do got to move forward. We have to move forward, and why not move forward on a new medium?
Yeah, listen, like I said, if I've had some ideas, we've had some discussions, and you know, I love the fact that there's so many options out there for you now. You know, plus I do have a lot of new stand-up, you know, coming out. Like I'm very busy during the months of October, November. I got a festival out in Edmonton the week after our Thanksgiving, so I guess the 10th.
We're in October, us, right?
Yeah, it's the first weekend in October, the 6th, 7th, 8th. So I guess I leave on the 11th or 12th, and then it's just Google Edmonton Comedy Festival. You'll see I got.
Is it the Edmonton? That's what it's called. Edmonton.
Yeah,
Comedy?
Edmonton.
Good
Coffee.
for them.
Yeah, I think it's it's something Alberta comedy, but you'll see. It's the first thing that comes up, and I'm really looking forward to that. Then throughout November, a couple of shows here in Montreal for charities and, you know, different venues and stuff. I think we have a show together.
We have a show September 26th at Club Soda.
Yeah.
Did you know that, though I've been there a lot, it's going to be my first time performing at Club Soda?
Well, that is what. So this is the 7th year this show is going to be going on, and it's a wonderful charity. It's called On Our Own, and it's basically a community that they've built up for women that are young, that have children that are in need because, you know, they're in abusive relationships, or you know, or you know,
well, I gotta change some of my set. I just realized.
You know, and then they had problems with substance abuse in the past, so they try to help everybody out, and it's a wonderful, wonderful cause. So that's on the 26th. I'm looking forward to that. But aren't we doing another one with Durante?
Oh shit! Yeah, we are. There, my September is so fucking crazy.
Yeah, mine too.
People. I get messages from people like, "Hey, you're doing this show," and they send me a screenshot of like a newspaper or something. I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And then I look at my calendar just to make sure I have it. Because does it ever happen to you where you don't put it in the right calendar? Sometimes I'll get
Have
a
you
phone.
met me?
I'll get a phone call 2 days before and like, "Hey, am I picking you up? Or are you picking me up?" I'm like, "Oh fuck! How do I answer this without them realizing I forgot about the gig?"
I'm not gonna lie. I woke up. Thank God you texted me today.
Because you wouldn't have come.
No, I'll tell you why. I woke up today.
Thinking it was Sunday.
Sunday. What wishful thinking, man. I'm 2 days behind. I woke up today thinking it was Saturday.
No.
Okay? I got up at like 10 o'clock because I went to bed super late last night. And here I am. I wake up, make my coffee, and I think, oh, it's Saturday. I have a tea time at 1:30.
That's hilarious.
Because I played golf on Saturday and Sunday, but on Saturday we started at 1:30. So I go and I'm starting to clean my golf shoes a little bit, and then I was like, oh, text message. It must be one of the boys for golf. And it was you going, hey, we still good? And I looked at I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, it's Monday.
Good thing I sent the message.
Whoa. Well, I would have figured it out eventually when, you know, Dum Dum didn't show up to pick me up. And I'd be like, where are you? And he'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm at work. I have a life.
Yeah, I'm a normal person. I work normal hours.
That was the worst thing, is that last year, most of my friends were unemployed. And it was great. You know what I mean? Like, I never had a problem finding a golf game. You know, it was like, hey, boys, you want to play? Sure. Now, this year, they all got jobs, or one of them got a kid, you know?
Oh, that's a job.
You know, so it's like, hey, you want to go? I can't until like 7 tomorrow, you know? So no.
You know what's absurd is that you were saying you were so happy when your friends were unemployed and they had time. Being a comic, your schedule is fucked up. Like I have trouble too with my friends just hanging out with them, right? It's very hard for our schedules to not have a conflict because let's say nights when they're free, right? They finish work. That's when I'm doing sets.
Yeah.
So it gets to a point where you have no choice but to hang out with either the unemployed or people who are in the same field as you to make time.
Listen, and that's why lately I've been hanging out alone.
Yeah, you have no choice. That's what people don't understand. You're not a hermit. Everyone's busy.
I'm a bit of a hermit. Not a hermit, a recluse.
Okay.
You know?
I could go with that.
You know, like if I could, I would live in the sticks on a farm, man.
Yeah, a farm.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted.
Remember that gig we did at the producing. They were producing something. You said we're doing a gig for producers, and we both understood that they were like. I thought it was like film producers or something. I was like, all right. And then we end up finding like, no,
They're farmers. Yeah, fruit producers.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense because it's so far out.
Yeah, it was apple. It was around now. It's like apple picking season.
Yeah. They were nice though. They were so happy to have us there, and they
Didn't
were
we get
cool
there in
people.
a snowstorm?
No, us it wasn't snowing, but there was there's been other gigs, man, that I've done. I don't remember how many we did together that we had to go places. I know over the weekend I had to go an hour out of like the reserves, kind of what it was a Neil Jana gig.
Yeah.
And it was in Riverfield, I believe.
Don't even know where that is.
Oh, it was in a curling club far
I
away.
love curling club gigs. I love curling club gigs, Legion gigs.
Do you know the only problem I had was with the comedians that went on before, including Neil, I called them out on it, is they kept talking to the people like they took a time machine to the Middle Ages. Because they were like, well, you guys have a hospital out here? And I'm like, God damn, they're an hour out of the fucking city, man. And everybody's just looking at them like, yeah, we know what that is. We have the internet. We have television. Like, they come to the city. It's an hour out of the city.
Yeah, they're not Amish.
Yeah, they're not. So when I got on stage, I was laughing. I couldn't believe that two comics spent so much time almost ridiculing them, being like, I can't believe you guys know what that is. You guys know the YouTube? You're like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. They're going to kick the shit out of us.
Well, I've had recently the most interesting gig I've been on was it was just outside of Petawawa, Ontario.
How far is that?
It's about an hour the other side of Ottawa, maybe.
Okay.
Right. And I was headlining the gig, and I was working with two Ottawa comics. And the middle comic, and it was a fundraiser for bikers that were going to ride for like not cyclists, like I'm talking motorcycle guys.
Oh, good.
That were going to ride across, I don't know what continent, but they were going to, basically they were doing it for a charity.
It better have been over an icy bridge on a mountain.
You know?
My money needs to go someplace where it's going to be worth it.
You know, so it was a good cause. But the middle act does this thing about how he grew up and his father is still a reverend.
Oh.
So there's a punchline where he says Jesus Christ. And it was a very funny joke, but out of nowhere, these two people, this couple, just jumped up. He died for your sins.
Jesus
and I was
Christ.
just like, oh my, what is happening? And I had to watch this before I went on. So they take care of it. They go outside, this couple. They're talking to the organizer. The comic ends. MC brings me up. And they're not in the room. I go to town on them a little bit. What I don't know is that they're outside now making friends with the act that they've ruined his act.
Uh-oh.
Because they want us, all of us, the three of us, to come back to their house so they can make amends by, taking care of us overnight, feeding us breakfast.
But you don't know this. You're on the warpath.
But when they told me this after, I was like, that's how every Criminal Minds episode starts. I hope you said no.
That's how you get murdered.
Yeah, especially, yeah. Hey, you made fun of our Lord. Why don't you come stay at our house?
And then you go missing. Where are they? They're with the Lord now.
Missing?
They're at a better place.
I'm in like 4 different oil barrels.
I don't
Cut up.
I don't know where it was, but I did a gig with Acker, and it was outside of Ottawa. It was like 4 hours from here. And it was me, him, Paul Belouit was there, and I think Wasim. We went down there, and it was kind of the crowd was a little hit or miss. A lot of them were talking during, so Paul Belouit was trying to control them. And then when I was on, I have a joke where the setup sounds like, oh, this guy's a racist, and then the punchline is like, oh, he fucking got us, right? And the normal reaction to every other place I do it is, oh, the gasp, and then like, oh, he fucking got us.
Was it just the opposite?
When they thought I was a racist, they started laughing and clapping.
Oh, God.
It made it so awkward. I started I was about to cry from laughter. I was like, oh, this is gonna... And then when I turned around on them, it got awkward because I made them like, now you guys are fucking racist.
Well, good.
Right?
Good for pointing
and
it out.
it was
though.
so awkward, but it wasn't an awkward moment where I'm like, what am I going to do? I was laughing. I was so kind of happy that happened. I was like, this has never happened any other room on the fucking planet that I've performed at. And they were just like, yeah, racism. All right. Like, they're so fucking happy.
Welcome to the 21st century,
This
right?
is 4 hours out of here.
Well,
It's
yeah.
not that far.
Yeah, still. It's isolated enough.
Yeah.
right? Where they could all
Then
meet
they
up.
clapped. I got claps on a setup because they're like, this guy, he's one of us. I like the cut of his jib.
Well, until you get invited to the clan meeting.
Yeah,
there.
exactly. But no, they didn't like it right after when I turned the tables on them. Like, oh fuck. I was like, it's too soon. You clapped too soon. You didn't. You should have let me keep going.
They don't like being pointed out, right?
Hmm.
Because they still want to keep their jobs.
The best is that I had them because they had already expressed their feelings, not knowing that there was a follow up.
I mean, I don't know. I don't censor myself on stage at all. But in real life, there are moments where you think to yourself, just shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah.
You know, don't get on social media and say, this offended me. And I don't like doing that because then I become part of that outrage brigade.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know?
There's been times where I'll tweet a reply, like I'll have it all written up, and then I'll just be like, you know what, cancel. Nothing's gonna come of this. It's just gonna be an endless back and forth.
Yeah.
And I'll just stop. And I see certain things that are so stupid, and they just get me. I'm like, oh, this guy's fucking wrong. This is it's absurd. So I go to reply, and I'm like, how's this gonna end? This guy's not gonna admit that he's wrong.
It ends with
one of us throwing our phones.
Right. It ends with frustration.
Yeah.
And just being miserable. Why? Because some random stranger disagreed with you.
Exactly.
You know? Listen, I don't mind if people disagree with me. A lot of people disagree with me.
It's not the disagreements that I mind. It's more when I hear. I'm very much on the side of logic. So I try my best.
You're such an optimist, brother. Like, seriously, how are you in Montreal stand-up scene right now and an optimist?
Well, I stay out of the scene a lot.
So do I.
I do my gigs.
I don't want to shit on people, but there are.
But yeah, it's
not.
Not,
you were talking about, avoiding certain situations. I'm at a point in life where like I said, my inner circle's getting smaller as I get older, and it's not because I'm at an age where they're dying. Not yet, not yet. One day that'll happen. What happened to Ed? Dead.
He's been dead for
Ed's
3 years.
Dead. Like those are the conversations I'm looking forward to with my friends. But I find it so hard now to sit in a green room and listen to people that just don't respect the craft.
We went through this together, if you remember, a couple of months ago at the Nest Green Room where you were sitting there. Oh. Things were being said, and then at one point, it was like a reflex. We just both looked up at each other, and it was like we're telling each other, just shut up, don't get involved. And we put our heads back down. I forgot what was said, but it was enough that we both jolted like it was a physical reaction.
Well, it's always the people that that are shitting on other people that all these idiots, like people that night.
Yeah.
All I wanted to say was, can you do what they did? The ones that you're shitting on, the ones that you're calling out. Why? What did they do to you?
Nothing.
That you felt the need to put them in, crosshairs, whether it's in social media, your friends, other comics, spreading bullshit. And that's what I find, too, is that there's a lot of stories being made up about people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the ones with the more followers win. That's the thing with Twitter wars, I don't know how it works on Facebook or whatever. But Twitter wars, it becomes very one-sided very quickly.
Who's going to just agree with the person?
Because,
it's not about who's right.
Right. It's just, Pantelis and Joey disagreed. Well, I'm going to side with Pantelis because he's got 4 million followers and Joey's got, 1,000. So I rather put up with maybe 1,000 fuck yous as opposed to 4 million fuck yous. I'm on Team Pantelis.
Yeah, yeah.
And I find that's what's happening now. Listen, there's always been cliques. There's always going to be cliques. It's just the way of the world. There's cliques in high school. There's cliques on hockey teams, in the dressing rooms. You know this. We've played on teams and stuff. And there's cliques in comedy. There always will be. But it's the way these cliques treat each other now. Back in the day, yeah, I hung with a certain group of comics, and there were another group of comics that hung out, but we never took a shit on each other. We were friends.
Yeah.
We were supportive of one another. We were competitive with one another while still being supportive. There is none of that now.
No, it doesn't exist. That's why I'm not around people. I hate when I see someone they're like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in months. What have you been up to?" I've been doing gigs all over the fuck. I just don't stick around for the bullshit. I do what I have to do and get the fuck out of there. I don't care. And what I'm cutting out of my life a lot, kind of like you said, your friend circle's getting smaller. It's all the negative people who will say stupid shit like, "Oh, how did you do this?" or "How did you get?" For everything that people see me succeed in, just know that I must have failed at that particular thing 150 times before that. Nobody is handing me anything.
What I enjoy is the fact that I know that, behind my back, there's certain people that just throwing, daggers
Grenades.
at me, and then you run into them face to face, and it's, "Hey, buddy, this, that."
Buddy.
And
I get the buddy a lot.
the one thing, I would love to do, but again, I don't want to include myself in the bullshit. But there's a few people on the scene that seem so self-righteous. When it comes to a new movement or a new show or something like that, this individual is the first person to back them up. But I know for a fact that this individual has been contacted as a producer of shows by at least 3 different individuals about another individual that is constantly on these shows that has made these people feel uncomfortable. And this gentleman who goes out on social media and is rah, rah, rah was like, "I think you're overreacting." That's what I don't like. I don't like the hypocrisy. You don't like me? Say it to my face. I'll say it to your face.
Yeah.
I've said it to comics to their face. And then they go, "Why don't you like me?" And I tell them straight up, "This is why I don't like you." And this, those 2 individuals, like I said, I don't like them. I'm not going to say their names, but if they had any balls, they would come see one of my shows, or they would, send me a message somehow. I'm very easy to find. Say, "Hey, man, let's clear the air. Let's sit down. I know you've heard some stories. I've heard some stories. Let's just break the ice. Let's go for a beer. Let's go for a coffee, whatever. Shoot the shit and communicate."
Yeah.
I'd be the first one to be like, "Done deal, man." But that's the problem. Nobody has the balls. As soon as you see, like I said, as soon as I see that one guy, he's all like, "Hey, hugs." And you're like, "Oh, God, don't touch me."
Yeah. No, I go through it, and not as often because I take myself out of it, and I know who's cool. Let's say, right? I know who's straight with me, and I know who isn't. And I don't need that added negative. I don't need that. Like those people don't bring anything good to people's lives. Like a lot of times people want to change. "Oh, this person doesn't like me. I want to know why. Fuck them. I know what I have to do. Right? I got to keep doing my thing. I got to work hard on my. I don't have time to put energy into a fucking open micer's opinion.
And that's why we are at a certain level, and they will never ever get past where they are now because they are too focused in on the drama, on causing the drama.
And it's on them because some of them actually have talent, but all their...
But the problem is most of the chatty fuckers are never really going to get off an open mic or more than an opening spot.
And you could
somewhere.
see it too, and it hurts because...
Well, I think that's why they do it sometimes. I think
they know?
I think some of them know. I think some of them realize that I'm never going to get to the level where that individual is. I don't like that individual, and then it becomes, instead of, well, what can I do to work harder and get there? It's what can I do now to bring them down? It's a very different, weird world, man. Like I was always taught, hard work pays off.
Yeah.
You got to be patient. That's the thing about comedy, man. It doesn't happen overnight.
No. And there's a
like,
lot of failure associated before you ever win. And everybody sees the highlights. Everybody sees the Netflix specials. They see the million download podcast. They see all the most successful, and they're like, "Oh, that's how it works. You attempt it, and it's either you get it or you don't."
Yeah, people think Radio's the same way. I can't tell you how many people were like, I could do exactly what you do.
No.
I can just sit behind a microphone and talk. I'm
Nope.
like, go for it. I honestly have told everybody that I've ever met that has been interested, just a small iota, in comedy. Everybody should try it once.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about giving a speech as a best man, or at a Sweet 16 where you're the best friend.
No, go up in front of strangers.
Even at work, if you have to do a presentation, try being a little, I'm not saying if it's a serious topic, every 7 seconds like a comic, crack jokes.
It's about AIDS research.
Yeah, but if you can, lighten the moment just a little bit. Be self-deprecating off the top. Make it human.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that they're supposed to be like some superhero that comes off the stage. We are.
No.
Are you kidding?
We're the furthest thing from a fucking superhero.
We
I
are
keep
the
telling
most
people, don't
broken.
follow me.
We are
Yeah.
the most broken fucking group of people, that you can find. Some comics go into it because they do. They want the attention. They need the attention.
Yeah, it's like a drug.
The same way they need the drama to fuel them. I always said I'm an analog guy in a digital world. I'm very happy going up, doing my show. If I stick around, I will always make time for the fans. If people want photos with me or whatever, always. I'll always make the time, as awkward as it may be.
You do, though.
I try to be as cordial and friendly, unless I'm really in a rush to get somewhere after a show. I usually take the time. But that's all it is, man. It takes a little bit of just humility, professionalism. I don't care if these people have been in it for 7, 8, 10 years. It never hurts to ask a question. I've been in it, 2 decades, and I still go down to the nest. And, there's headliners that come in, like Nick Griffin, who's been on, the old Letterman show, 16 times or something. You think I'm not going to ask him a question or two? You think I'm not going to sit down, watch this man?
Try to learn something.
Watch this man do 45 and just watch how somebody who has done late night so many times and is constantly headlining major clubs across the U.S. formats his set and how he goes about doing it. It's an evolution. Yeah. It never, like comedy, I think that's why I like golf so much, is that no matter how good you get at it, you'll never, ever find perfection. There's always something you can tweak. Same in golf. I can shoot the best round of my life yesterday. I can go out today, same clubs, same course, same conditions, and shoot the worst game of my life. Much like comedy, I can go out tonight, 10 minutes, do really, really well, feel good about it. Tomorrow night, same club, same exact 10 minutes, walk off stage and go, wow, I should really go back to school.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. So I think there's a parallel, is that you do comedy, you play golf, you want to be the best you can be. Some days it works really, really well. Some days it goes really bad. And some days it goes exactly as planned, where okay, I'm going to shoot, about a 90.
And that's what you get.
And that, yeah.
Yeah, some days you could call it.
I shot that yesterday. I shot 90.
Still, I don't think I'm ever going to get into the golf.
Which on a good day, for most golfers, that was great. 2 days before that, I shot an 84. So
I don't know if that's good or not.
It's shit.
Okay.
But it's good for me, and I like it.
What are you working on next? I know that you have the special. Let's go with the special. The album.
Yeah.
It's going to drop.
The album, How'd You Get Here? We are going to, like I said, I'm printing up 150 that are numbered.
Okay.
So.
And digital, right? Digital sales?
Yes, and then it'll be up on the digital and the iTunes and the fancy stuff, whatever the kids listen to, Spotify, whatever. What's the other big one?
On Google Play.
Yeah, sure.
Google Play.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so we're aiming to have that all out by American Thanksgiving, so second week in November.
Okay, so soon.
Yeah, so that people can buy it for the holidays as a gift, and I have a lot of shows coming up in the new year where I'm at clubs throughout Canada, so that'll be a nice way of spreading the joy throughout as well.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And what about your ideas on broadcasting? What's next for Joey Elias?
Whatever happens. I mean, like I said, podcast is always a possibility. But if anybody knocks at the door, I mean, I'm not at the point where I'm not listening to any options. And that goes for, a writing gig on a show. If I feel like I can do a really good job, whether it's on a writing gig, hosting gig, or whatever, if I feel that I can do a really good job and for the majority of time feel good about doing it, I'll do it. But I'm at the point now where if it just doesn't feel right, like even comedy shows, I've turned down a few just because, you're like, really? This bar? And then you look up the bar and you're like, whoa, where, how, what? And then you ask a couple of questions and people are like, oh no, that's a hell gig.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've done my fair share of hell gigs.
Lord knows you have, yeah.
And I don't need to add to the stress of going across town for an hour and a half to feel like a piece of shit, in front of new people that will never, ever come see me again.
Exactly.
I'd rather wait for a Tuesday night, go down to the Nest, ask, if I can do a 5 or 7 minute, try out a couple of new jokes. And then, depending on who's around, either stick around or get out of there as fast as you can.
I'm with you on that one, Joey. So, Joey, on Twitter, it's Bruins514.
Bruins_514, yes. I am a Bruins fan.
Everything is in the description. And, yeah, Joey is a Bruins fan in Montreal. I'm a Devils fan in Montreal, so
You're going to have a good year.
I think so.
You're going to have a good year.
I think so. I'm excited.
I would be too, man.
A lot of young guys.
Young guys, but also I love their coach, man.
Yeah, it's that
love
whole. I
that
love
coach.
the system of New Jersey. I love that whole. Let's build something up, not let's just fucking buy and sell. I like what's happening right now. I like the rebuild.
Well, and do you like the fact that they're bringing back those vintage jerseys?
The green ones, the ones.
The green stripes.
I thought that was just a marketing thing. I didn't know they were going to bring it back for the season. Is it going to be one of the alternate jerseys?
Yeah.
I want to buy one.
I remember those jerseys, man. Those were like when people on Twitter were like, "Oh my God, why would you bring back those years?"
I like those.
But they weren't great years for Jersey.
No, the years weren't great, except for when McLean actually got them into the playoffs with a goal. I think it was the last goal of the season. They were still wearing the green ones. They still had the green ones, but they didn't win anything.
was there with that. But I love that. Like, Hartford Whalers jersey.
I would wear a Whalers jersey.
I have all the old caps of all the teams, right? So the Whalers, the California Golden Seals.
The Golden Seals.
Yeah.
What a name.
The Kansas City something, I don't remember.
Shit.
It may have
Royals, I think.
It could have been the Chiefs for all I know, like the football team.
But Kansas City was the same franchise as the Devils. It was Kansas City, then it went to Colorado, the Rockies, and then they went to...
So I have the original Colorado Rockies hat that they now use sometimes as their alternate jersey logos. That's when Don Cherry was coaching them.
For how long did he coach them?
1 year.
Yeah, that was... I saw the film they made on CBC of Don Cherry's life with the guy who's on...
Mr. D. Jerry D was Bobby Orr.
Jerry D was on it, but there was also the guy who's on Letterkenny. The guy who stars in Letterkenny played Don Cherry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forget his name. Who was also on 19-2 or 10-2? 10-4?
Yeah, that fucking cop thing, right?
Yeah. 10-4, 19-2, 16-9.
I should ask Kater about that. That guy seems like a fucking nice guy.
Funnier than hell.
Yeah, he seems like a cool dude.
He's a very, very funny man.
Seems like it. You see, sometimes you could tell.
Again, look at what he's done. Look at, I love the range of his scope. He could be a
serious,
a badass cop, and then he can be a goof in Letterkenny. It's wonderful.
So you could, if you're looking for Joey, I have his social media link in the description. Check Joey out. We got a show September 26th. You have all kinds of stuff in September. I don't know if you want to plug anything in October. Get people ready. In the new year, look for him around Canada because you're going to be fucking all over the place.
Yeah, and if you're out in Edmonton the second weekend in October, check out the Edmonton Comedy Festival.
There's no reason not to. What else are you going to do in fucking Edmonton?
Hang out at the mall.
Oh. Thank you all for listening. This has been the Pantelis Podcast with Joey Elias.
Thank you.